That extra second, though, Flo,
made a huge difference.
Not helping Greece,
Not
did
helping
it?
Greece
No.
at all. That's still the huge focus in the French papers today. 20 Minutes sent its reporters to the streets of Athens, where divisions are very strong between the yes and the no camp ahead of that referendum scheduled for Sunday. You can see 20 Minutes here talking about Greece, a country cut in two. So you have Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras calling on Greeks to vote no, ochi in Greek, and he says he'll step down if the Greeks vote yes, nay, in Greeks. Is this debt drama going to end in a Grexit, so an exit from the Eurozone, or an Alexit? That's what some papers are saying, so an exit for Alexis Tsipras. Now, Tsipras does, as usual, have support from one paper here in France, and that's the communist paper, L'Humanité. They call on Greeks to vote no. It's a question of dignity for Greeks, and the only way that they will keep their dignity is to vote no, according to L'Humanité.
Now, here in France, the Socialist Party seem to be rather divided, don't they, about what to think about this referendum?
That's right. Officially, the Socialist Party has said that it's not going to take a position on the referendum. L'Opinion says the reason for that is because the Grexit is actually splitting the Socialist Party, the PS, apart. According to L'Opinion, this Greek debt drama has really brought some skeletons out of the closet for the Socialist Party. Essentially, these deep divisions that exist in the Socialist Party over Europe, what the role of Europe should be, etc. And all this is putting the president, François Hollande, in a very delicate position, according to L'Opinion.
Now, L'Opinion also reminds readers that France's debt situation isn't, well, very pretty, should we say, either. According to these new figures published yesterday, France's public debt burden rose 51.6 billion euros in the first quarter.
That's right, and that is a record, and you can read more about it in L'Opinion. Other papers as well are focusing on this. That means that the total debt burden represents 97.5% of GDP. So you can see L'Opinion in their editorial says, are we feeling the chill, the very early signs of a Frexit, perhaps a French exit from the Eurozone? L'Opinion says there's no need to travel to Athens to find a state that is in major debt and has to keep spending more money just to uphold what L'Opinion calls a dead-end social system. The state is a prisoner of this expensive system, and it can't make any promises other than it's going to spend more and more money. As you can imagine, and it's not very surprising, Le Figaro, the conservative paper, agrees with L'Opinion, has a lot of criticism about the way the government spends its money. You can see they're talking about un train fou, a crazy train that is out of control, and Le Figaro lashes out against what it calls the invisible poison that is French debt, that is completely draining the foundations of the French economy. And Le Figaro says it's quite ironic that the president, François Hollande, is giving lessons to Greece these days about management. He should take a closer look at those recommendations he's giving Athens and perhaps take a few tips for himself.
And you mentioned François Hollande. He's kicking off a 2-day trip to Africa today, isn't he?
That's right. 2 days, 3 countries. He's going to visit Benin, Angola, and Cameroon. Now, Le Parisien takes a closer look at this trip. Hollande is scheduled to hail the force of democracy in Benin. There, the president, Thomas Boni Yayi, has said that he's going to respect the constitution and not run for a 3rd term next year. But it's a very different story in Angola. There, José Eduardo dos Santos has been in power since 1979. And in Cameroon, Paul Biya has been at the reins of the country for 33 years. So perhaps not the most democratic countries. You can see Aujourd'hui en France is talking about a troubling Africa tour for the French president. The official line is that François Hollande and France need cooperation with these countries to fight against terrorism and also to defend France's economic interests. But Le Parisien says what this is really all about is realpolitik.
And while we're talking about Africa, new allegations as well of sexual abuse by French soldiers.
That's right. You can read more about those allegations in Le Monde. So yesterday, the Ministry of Defense said that 2 French soldiers have been suspended over allegations of child sex abuse in Burkina Faso. Some 220 French soldiers are stationed there as part of an anti-terrorism operation called Barkhane. Now, this suspension, of course, follows another very high-profile sex abuse scandal involving French soldiers in the Central African Republic. Allegations that really somewhat damaged the reputation of the French army.
And another French scandal, a little bit lighter, this one, though. Quite serious as well at the same time, though, because it involves wine, which is always close to my heart.
Always close to my heart, very close to the French heart as well. You can read more about it in Le Parisien, because this isn't a scandal involving just any wine. This is the best wines that France has to offer. You can see here, Aujourd'hui en France, talking about the giant fine wine ripoff. What is this about? Well, you can read more about it inside Le Parisien. Basically, the scam involves a website called 1855.com, a French website. And now, over a 9-year period, this website allegedly sold some of the highest-ranked Grand Cru wines here in France, but completely virtually. It ripped off about 11,000 people for a total amount of 40 million euros. Now, an investigation has been opened involving fraud and money laundering around the website's founder, a man with a very aristocratic name, Émeric Sauty de Chalon. What's interesting is that he was actually named Entrepreneur of the Year in 2007 by the French Senate and the very prestigious business school l'ESSEC. Now, Le Parisien says that he allegedly actually took advantage of his very aristocratic name, his contacts, and his also elite education. He went to the business school HEC, and he used all this to rip off his investors, banks, and also clients. Clients actually never received the wines that they ordered, and not only because the wines just didn't get to them, some of the wines didn't even exist. There was one wine that was completely made up, the Chateau d'Yquem 2012, a vintage that never existed, people ordered it.
But they didn't notice.
But they didn't notice that it didn't exist, and they never got it to taste
I wondered why my wine cellar was empty. Now I know, because I have a vast chateau with a wine cellar, of course, as does Flo.
As I do too.
Flo Villeneuve with the papers, thanks.